Thanks. And right now, search planes are getting set to pick up their work in the waters off the west coast of Australia, some 1,500 miles from land. Their mission here, find whatever these satellite images appear to show. 24 meters across, 78, 79 feet. Then determine whether they're pieces of the missing Malaysia Airlines jet. But so many factors will work against them. It's been days since the satellite took these photos. Searchers are also dealing with incredibly rough weather, they tell us. Big waves and a current that can carry debris hundreds of miles. That's not even to mention the inherent difficulty of scouring the sea for a brief glimpse of wreckage. One that could finally help answer the question of what happened to Flight 370. So let's get to it.
Now, Shepard Smith reporting live from the Fox News deck.
And good Thursday afternoon from the Fox News deck. Australian officials say they're now waiting for daybreak there to continue searching for those two pieces of what they believe may be debris from the plane. It's dark there now, of course, and dawn is still a few hours away. Those officials say a United States satellite. In the early morning hours today, I was reporting that it was an Australian satellite. It was not. It was a United States satellite that spotted the objects 4 days ago, on Sunday, about 3,600 miles from where the plane dropped off the radar. 3,600 miles. That's farther than the distance between New York and Los Angeles. And here we have an image of a larger object. This is it right here. That's the one I said, 24 meters across. You can't really make out much of it, can you? Catherine Herridge is reporting they think they might have used supercomputers to get to where they are now. About the length of a semi-truck, they say, with a trailer. And here's the smaller objects, which the investigators say is about 16 feet or 5 meters across. Let's go over here to my bat, where the map will show the southern arc of this territory here. Remember, there were two arcs, the one to the north and the one to the south. Well, this is the area where we can go. You can see it's not too far from the object's location, about 1,550 miles or 2,500 meters, kilometers as they describe it, south and west of Perth, Australia. So just about right there. Officials say that they sent out search planes yesterday, but the weather was so bad it was just really tough to see out there. And they say these objects could be their best lead yet, but they also caution all of us that they could just be debris from a nearby shipping route.
We'd like to find something to give a bit of closure and answers to the family and relatives of the people on board the Malaysian Airlines flight. But if we don't find something as well, there's always hope that maybe the aircraft's somewhere else and they're safe and sound.
That's obviously what the relatives of the 239 people on board that jet are hoping. We all are. Of course, if this debris is from the missing jet, then the waiting, well, the not knowing would finally be over. But for those families, it would also confirm their very worst possible fear about their mothers and fathers and sons and daughters, loved ones who boarded a night flight to Beijing and have not come home. Catherine Herridge is live in Washington, as she was when we got the news late last night here on the East Coast. Now they're searching for these objects. Anything?
Well, Shep, it is a massive search on a historic scale at the ends of the earth after those two large objects identified by that American satellite firm Digital Globe were found within 100 miles of that narrow and refined search area in the southern Indian Ocean, 1,500 miles from Perth. With Australia in the lead and support from New Zealand and the United States, crews in the air and on rough seas battled the elements in this extraordinary search and recovery mission. Among the assets, the world's most sophisticated surveillance and search aircraft, including the U.S. Navy's P-8 Poseidon. Once on station, the plane descended to an altitude of just 300 feet, skimming the water with radar and cameras amplifying the search, but no debris was sighted. Navy recovery officers who are familiar with the Poseidon say it really is the search's best shot.
It has the best capability to see metallic objects on the ocean, identify them, advanced radars that are highly classified, long on station time, so they can go down there and they will have the best chance.
If the debris is confirmed because it's in international waters, the investigation will automatically fall to the Malaysians. The U.S. can join in as a second party, but there is no scenario, given the facts as we know them today, that would allow the U.S. to take over this investigation, Shep.
Catherine, one of the possibilities they've told us is that one of these objects is a cargo container of some kind that came off a ship in a very busy shipping route. What do we know?
Well, that's one of the theories that's making the rounds today. This is a very busy ocean corridor, and trash can take the form of these cargo containers. Either they're lost over the side of these merchant vessels because of heavy seas, or they're deliberately pushed over with refuse from that vessel. But in any event, when you actually look at the dimensions, a cargo container is about 40 feet in length, so it doesn't seem to match up, especially with that longer object that we're looking at, which is close to 80 feet in the water. Shep.
Catherine Harrods in Washington. Catherine, thanks for that and all your great reporting in the middle of the night last night. Daniel Rose is here. He's a licensed commercial pilot who's been part of search teams for a long time now, looking for debris from other plane crashes, including the Continental flight that went down near Buffalo, New York back in 2009. In addition, the 2001 crash of American Airlines Flight 587 over New York City, the borough of Queens. It's nice to see you.
Same here. Thanks.
Are we in a new place today or not?
I really don't think so.
Yeah.
I think it's just another piece of information that can go either way. Either it was a deliberate act or it was a mechanical failure.
Yeah. What I don't get is they keep telling us that satellites can read our license plates. And this one on Sunday picks this up. They send it to all kinds of governments. They put a supercomputer on it. 4 days later, they tell us of its existence, and we can't even tell what it is.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly it. I think what they were doing was scanning a big area so that showed up. I mean, we can certainly read license plates, but you got to know exactly where you're looking. And we don't know where we're looking just yet.
So it's as if you took a very wide shot with your iPhone, to be a real simpleton here. Took a really wide shot, and then you zoomed in as far as you could, and you took it to the Photoshop, and you zoomed in even farther, and you took it to but then they couldn't find it again to get another shot from the satellite.
Right, right. It's a big ocean, and currents are moving, winds are blowing, and it takes a lot to, even when you know exactly where a piece of wreckage that big is, you really need to be right on top of it to see it, because waves and whitecaps play games with your vision, and ultimately it's the eyeball that's going to identify it.
Yeah. An engine, one of these big engines, would sink like a dumbbell.
Absolutely.
But the wing itself, which is a little over 80 feet long, would float if intact, and this is 78 feet.
It could, especially if it had fuel still in it, because fuel is less dense than water, so it would tend to float, or if there was an air seal somehow, it would tend to float it. But, time is not on our side in terms of seeing wreckage on the surface.
No, and they described to us a debris field this morning early. They didn't use the words debris field, but they said this very large piece, this piece of substance, and then a lot of little bitty pieces, which in a vacuum would be consistent with this sort of a debris field.
Yeah, it would. And, hopefully we're all proven that that's in fact the case, because it's going to give us a lot of answers. It's going to hopefully lead to the black box in a timely fashion so that we can understand what happened in the last 30 to 2 hours of the flight.
We learned from Air France that the black boxes and the debris field can be very, very far apart.
Right. Even where you know where to look.
So if you were in charge of everything now, would this be the thing on which I know? It's hard to know, because we got such bad information from the start from the Malaysians.
Yeah, I mean, to me that's the most frustrating thing about this whole process. It's just, not to pick on the Malaysians at all, but I'm sure it's their first encounter with that, and it's unfortunate they had to deal with it. But, there's a lot of good resources on the side. Ours, the Australians, have done this, unfortunately, many times, and know how the drill is done, and I think could have availed themselves of those resources earlier on.
Once the sun comes up, maybe we'll learn more. Dan Rose, thank you.